alignment, manifestation, synchronicity, dark night of the soul. What does it all mean? Is the woo sometimes a little too woo for you? Join me as I break it all down on Decoding the Woo Woo with Dana Sardano. Hi, my name is Dana Sardano, and this is Decoding the Woo Woo. Welcome, and thank you for joining me. Decoding the Woo Woo is a show that I created because I wanted to clarify some of the misconceptions of the spiritual community and demystify the cryptic nature of the woo and remind us all that, the woo is you and that we are all spiritual beings here having an experience, and we're here to learn, to grow, to expand, and hopefully feel love and joy in our hearts while doing so. And that's why I'm here. And I hope that that's why you're here too. So welcome to episode 9. This is really, really fun. So episodes 1 through 8, if you haven't been watching, I've really focused on the importance of empowering ourselves and understanding that we navigate this reality, and understanding the tools and the philosophies and some of the basic ground rules of knowing how to create our experience. Talked about balances and imbalances and our aspects that correspond with our chakras and all of this stuff. So if you haven't watched up until now, it really is a beautiful build up to where we are. The last 2 episodes, I talked about frequency and vibration and alignment and manifestation, and how when we understand all of that, once again, we could create fulfilling purpose-driven lives. So here we are, episode 9, and the title of this episode is, You Don't Know What You Don't Know Until You Know? So really, I want to talk about awareness and perspective. So, in any video that I've done, in any conversation that I've had, in any book that I've written, I've brought up awareness and willingness. And these two, they work in tandem. If I have awareness of anything without a willingness to do something about it, I'm imbalanced. If I have a willingness, but I don't have an awareness of what it is that I need to do to, again, create the life that I desire, I'm out of balance. So when you have an awareness of what you need to do and a willingness to do it, that's when the magic happens. So I want to focus right now on the awareness. Awareness really comes down to our individual perspectives. And our perspective is our reality. Our perspective is such a beautiful gift to us while having this experience. Nobody has the perspective that you have. Nobody. You are unique and individual and only see the world through your eyes. It's truly amazing. Now, yes, we are all connected, and yes, there's a oneness, and yes, we all come from the same place. But right here, right now, you are looking through the lens of your perspective only. Really cool. And your experiences in life, your conditioning, whether it be implicit or explicit, all of this adds to your perspective. In the simplest of terms, think about your family. Think about your birth order, your personality, your gender, and any of experiences that you've had in that environment. I mean, I think about my brother. My brother and I, we were in the same family, but we're different genders, different personalities, different birth orders. We've had different experiences. And the way we processed and integrated those experiences dictates our perspective, right? I always joke that we had different parents. He and I had different parents because all of his experiences and his relationship with his mother created a different perspective, a different worldview for him. My experiences, again, gender, birth order, all that, my relationship with my parents, specifically my mother, created a worldview and a perspective for me. So what happens then? I take this perspective into my life experience, and then I align with more experiences, and then I go from there. So truly, our experiences, they shape our again, our perspective, our reality, and we continue from there. So when we become aware that that is what's shaping our reality, and we understand that our perspective, the way we see the world, is changeable, it's malleable, then we have an awareness and we can do something about it, which brings us to the willingness, right? So think about this for a second. Look at the world around you and you see how people operate. And people operate all, again, from their own lens, from their own view. Think about, like, if you've ever been like in a car accident, you have 3 people who witness this car accident and they are all standing in a different place. They're all going to have a different narrative. They're all going to have a different story of what went down, right? They're all going to take their personal experience, their lens, their filter, and they're going to see it that way. We do this all the time. We see this in circumstances all the time. There's a drama over here. There's a dispute over there. And depending on my lens is how I am going to see that. Make sense? Now, how do we see the world more objectively? We broaden our perspective. And how do we do that? Well, we'll get to that in a second, but think about this just for a second. If we broaden our perspective and we could see the world objectively, we can have more love and compassion and tolerance and patience in our hearts. Because we've talked about this before. You have a spectrum of emotion, right? You have love all the way on one end and you have fear all the way on the other end. You have everything else that falls in that spectrum of emotion. Well, when our perspective is more narrow, we're really only capable of a smaller spectrum of emotion. And typically it falls in fear, in that survival, in that need to survive. I mean, at the risk of being redundant. Okay. So think about this. When we have more experiences, good, bad, ugly, that we are willing to process, face first, process, and then integrate and understand, there's a whole nother level of understanding and a broadening of the awareness. Then we now are able to see another and understand another, because you understand yourself, you understand the world around you, and then you can have a more open heart, more compassion, more tolerance. So the broader the awareness, the more compassion, the more understanding. Make sense? So I want you to think about, I want to pose something to you. Many years ago, oh my God, back in the days of AOL, when you get emails, you get like these chain emails and stuff like that before the internet evolved into what it is now. I remember getting this email with this picture, and it was a picture of a vase, and it had the form of 2 lovers on a vase. They were just like in this amorous pose. And the caption said that if you were under the age of 9, children under the age of 9 could not see the lovers. They could only see dolphins. I looked at it again, and what I saw was, I think it was 9 dolphins, and they were all posed like they made the outline of these lovers, but they were dolphins. The message was that the 9-year-olds did not have that frame of reference. So therefore, the frame of reference of the lovers, therefore they couldn't see the lovers. They could only see the dolphins. I could see both when I was alerted, because I have the frame of reference of both. When people do not have the frame of reference through their experience, through feeling those emotions, through integrating those emotions or those experiences, learning the lesson, and then being able to apply it to their lives. When they don't have all of that, they don't have that frame of reference in order to have compassion for another. And as we know, at the end of the day, compassion for all things is really the end game, because it comes with peace and love and joy and freedom, right? So we have to, those of us who have the intention of learning and growing and expanding and doing it consciously, and expanding our awareness, we have to understand that the people aren't good and evil. They're not, it's not black and white. People are either balanced or imbalanced, aware or unaware. And those that have a narrower awareness, it's for us to understand that they just don't know what they don't know until they know, you know? So I share this, I'm not trying to be preachy, but it's just really for us to have a level of understanding. Like if you look in the world around you and you see there is a lot of strife. And it's so easy for us to judge and point the finger at who's right, who's wrong, who's stupid, right? Who sucks? Who's awful? But at the end of the day, people are only seeing through the lens of their perspective. And when we understand that there's a reason that they are aligning with whatever it is that we don't align with, we could have more compassion for that. So I'm just trying to make that point because, we're all doing our part, trying to make the world a better place. So I want to talk about mirrors for a second, because mirrors is a term that people, throw around in the spiritual community a lot. We're all mirrors for one another. We're all reflecting. And that is a true statement. And there's even a thing where like you mirror somebody else in the moment, like somebody comes to you and they're all excited and then you get excited. Or if you walk into a room and somebody's like, wah, wah, and it brings you down, there is that kind of obvious mirroring. But really what mirroring is we are all here, again, as individuals with our own perspectives, but we are all of the same and we are all doing the same thing. We are all in this thing together, essentially. And so even though we're here to have our own experience, we are here to assist one another in their growth. So we're all doing this thing together. And the mirror is when this person comes into your life through whatever the experience is, they're showing you what you need to evolve in your own life. So let's think about this for a second. Sometimes it's as simple as they're doing something that you don't like. So it's just showing you what your preferences are. Sometimes it's more extreme and they trigger something in you and you realize, oh my God, this is something I need to work on myself. So just to give you an example, let's just say I'm online at the bank and there's a guy in front talking to the teller and he's mouthing off and he's yelling at the teller and he's being totally rude and obnoxious. And I'm witnessing this. And I become completely triggered by the situation. And in my head, oh, he's disgusting. How could he do that or whatever? And I could feel myself getting upset. When I take time to think about it, I realize, oh my God, my father always acted that way. Not only was he belligerent in the home, but when we were out in public, he was belligerent to others. And it always made me feel shame and embarrassment. And watching this man has reminded me of those terrible experiences. So what does that mean? That means that he is a mirror. That experience, I'm just watching that he is a mirror, giving me an opportunity to look at myself and to see what remains unhealed. Or maybe I'm just standing there and I'm judging his behavior because it's gross and I don't like it. But deep down, I know that I'm capable of that behavior too. That there have been times in my life where I've lacked patience, where I've had a tough day, I've taken it out on somebody else. And I'm realizing, that reflects something in me as well. And it gives me the opportunity to look at myself. Again, a mirror for my growth. Or perhaps I'm just watching this guy and I'm looking at his behavior and I'm realizing that these are just behaviors that I don't prefer. And it's validating that I, A, don't exhibit those behaviors and B, surround myself with those behaviors. Or maybe I'm watching this and I'm having compassion for the teller for being on the receiving end of this vitriol. Or maybe compassion for him because I know that if he had a good life or a good day or was in a good place, he would not be acting that way. Hurt people, right? So I'm watching this and having compassion. So this mirror does not require me stepping in, because a previous version of me probably would have stepped in and said something to the guy because I'm the savior of all underdogs. I put that pattern to rest. But really watching this and the unpleasant feelings. Now, again, we've talked about this in previous episodes. I could become entrenched in those emotions and have all these thoughts in my head about how disgusting he is and then go on with my day. Or I can and bring that to my day. Or I can recognize that this man, this experience is just a mirror for me. And it gives me an opportunity to look at myself. You know what I mean? So this happens in all aspects of our life in so many different ways. I mean, think about your most intimate relationships and how you become triggered. Oh my God, my husband is the perfect example. I was just telling him last night, he's so cute. I was just telling him last night in a conversation, I was like, you've come so far in our relationship. Of course, he was offended by this because he's not a project and I'm not here to fix him. And we got through that part. But I think about early on in our relationship and how, oh my God, like everything, like he was always very tense and everything triggered him. And he had to evolve into feeling safe with me because, again, his story, he had an opportunity with me to heal. And I think about me with him. I remember early on in our relationship, we've been together 10 years. And I remember early on in our relationship, we were in some sort of disagreement, and he's always been trying to help me. That's all he ever does. I mean, he's such a good man, and he just wants to assist. And I would fight with him. And I remember once he was trying to help me with something, and I'm fighting with him, and he says to me, I'm on your team. I only want what's best for you. And it hit me that my trigger with him all the time when he tried to help was I felt like he was trying to control me. I felt like he was trying to criticize me. I was so independent because of my backstory. I was so independent. I felt that he was a danger to my identity. And when he said what he said to me, I realized, oh my God, we are on the same team. And it changed everything. And I'm sharing this with you because there's something so special about these relationships that we have, our most intimate relationships, again, with our significant other, with our closest friends. Oh my God, in our immediate family, that create so much strife for us, but they are mirrors for us, for our growth. If you are watching this episode, you clearly buy in to the understanding or to the logic that we have chosen these existences. When we were born, it was because we understood that we were being born into family structures, into cultures, into situations that gave us the most fertile opportunity to learn, to grow, and to expand. And then we were given this toolkit. We talked about this also. We were given this toolkit of our emotions, of our senses, of all these things to understand and navigate this. But we get lost sometimes because it's difficult, it's challenging. But with your new awareness and your understanding that these are all mirrors for us to reflect back to us what we need to do for our growth, and we do that for others, it streamlines the process a little bit. It makes things a little bit more pleasant, a little bit smoother in our shaping our trajectory. So again, we talked about all of this awareness. And then there's the willingness. Like, how do we do this, right? How do we recognize or broaden our awareness, I should say? Well, the willingness to be in these moments, these difficult moments, these challenging moments with my husband that I just referred to, these challenging experiences, and to feel the emotion, to be in the situation, to not avoid it, not distract yourself, not to numb it, not to self-soothe, not to do all those things, to understand that this experience, even if it's unpleasant, is a part of the greater growth. And when we do that, we are able to process everything that we're feeling, process the experience, then integrate it, then see it from different perspectives, see it with more clarity, and then bring that to our experience. So guys, seriously, awareness and willingness. That is how we create a broader perspective. It's truly something. I want to read something to you. So for those of you who have been following along, you understand or you're aware that I created this beautiful deck of Soul Traveler cards with my dear friend, Anne-Marie Scordy, with my artwork and her super powerful channeled messages. There's so many. Even to pick them for these episodes has been so challenging because there's so many and I have to I have to sift through. And you know what's really cool too? When I'm sifting through them, I'm rereading them and I'm reading, it's like seeing them for the first time, because with every experience, as my awareness expands, each of these cards means something differently to me because I see them differently, because I am different. Just one more thing I want to say about awareness, because it's so important that we understand this. You know, when I was teaching back in the day, and I was teaching, I taught English and ancient history, like all sorts of world history, religions and cultures and things like that. But in English, I would teach, other than the language arts aspect of it, I would teach a variety of different books. And I had the same books that I loved that I would teach every year. And every year when I would read them, I would see them completely differently. Like, it was crazy. It was like the same book. And 3, 4, 5 years in a row, I would focus on something different. And it would mean so much to me because my life experience and what I was able to see in that moment, we're only able to see what we're able to see. And I would see it. And these books became so more meaningful because I saw them from all the different angles, right? My lens of perception expanded. You know, you'll see a movie, you'll see it like 10 times. You'll be like, oh my God, I didn't even realize that was there. Or, oh my God. Or here's one. It's one of my favorites. You learn a new word and then you see it everywhere. You feel like you made up the word. You make up the word. You see it because your awareness, you're able to see it now. Now apply that understanding to your personal experience. Okay, back to the Soul Traveler cards. So the one I picked today, this is Angry Ostrich. Similar to Dot from a previous episode, the dimensions are much longer, so his neck goes much longer, but one of my faves. I say that about all of them. The message is called Look Within. It is not for you to transform the world. It is for you to transform yourself. This is not a group project. The collective consciousness transforms as one individual at a time awakens to greater understanding of his or herself. This is a domino effect. It is the way forward for all. All will benefit if they choose awareness, self-awareness. For it is through the self whereby all is elevated. Looking within, not without, will lead you to your freedom. Again, the level of your awareness externally begins with your awareness internally. The more you learn about yourself, the more you understand the world around you, and the more it elicits feelings of tolerance, peace, freedom, compassion, forgiveness, all of it. You want this to be great? We start here. Look within. So, as always, I appreciate you joining me. Remember, awareness and willingness, they work together hand in hand to broaden your perspective. I appreciate, I appreciate you being here. If there's anything that you want to know more about me, if you want to see the other creative projects that I do, the books that I write, podcasts that I do, all of that, you could go to ubuntufishgallery.com. If you want to know more about the book specifically, you could go to phenom-publishing.com. And if you're picking up what I'm putting down, join me for episode 10. So thanks again. Thank you for indulging me. I'll see you then. And as always, Ubuntu.